So again, in this question, we're going to do BEDMAS. To do that, we're going to do the brackets first, which means we need a common denominator to add. So I'm going to do it times 2 on top and times 2 on bottom to get the common denominator 6. I'm going to do it times 3 on bottom, times 3 on top, again to get the common denominator of 6. So I get 2 over 6 plus 3 over 6. That's all squared times 3 over 5. So I'm going to add those together to get 5 over 6. I'm going to square all that and then multiply by 3 over 5. So when I'm squaring this, I'm going to square the numerator and square the denominator. Okay, BEDMAS means I square first, then I multiply. So there are some common factors here, so I'm just going to write this as 5 times 5. So just highlighting that 5 times 5 comes from that 25. And in the denominator, I end up with 6 times 6, but I want a common factor of 3, so I'm going to do this as 3 times 12. And again, because this is times, I can think of this just as one big fraction. So that 3 ends up on top, the 5 ends up on bottom. And now I can just look to see if it will simplify. So I have a common factor of 5 and 5, 3 and 3. And what's left over then is going to be the final answer. And this is a simplified answer of 5 over 12. For this one here, same thing. We want to do BEDMAS first. So we always do BEDMAS. So it's going to be times first. So I'm going to just write this as times on top, divide on bottom. So this is just really just 1 times b on top, 3 times a on bottom. Now this is tricky in that we need a common denominator. And one way to think of common denominators is look at the factors and see what's missing. So in this case here, when I take a look at the right-hand fraction, it's missing a times 2. So I'm going to just do a times 2 here, and I need to balance the fraction with the times 2 here. And so that gives me 2b over 6a. So 6a is my lowest common denominator. So when I look at the fraction on the left, the factors that are missing are a times by 3 and a times by a. So I need to do that to the bottom to get my common denominator. My common denominator is 6a. And in the numerator, 1 times 3a is just going to be 3a. So now I've generated equivalent fractions for 1/2 and b over 3a. Since I have a common denominator, I just need to count the numerator or add the numerator. So the denominator stays the same. It's going to be 6a. When I add the numerator, I can only add things that are like terms or the same. I have 3 a's and 2 b's. I cannot count 3 a's and 2 b's the same, so I just keep it separate. 3a and 2 b's. There's my final answer. Now please do not try to simplify this because we cannot simplify across plus and minuses. So 2 and 6 don't simplify to 3 and 1 because of that plus. Times and divide is incompatible with the add and subtract. We have to be careful. We cannot simplify when there's pluses. We can only simplify when there's times and divide.